Hi, I'm Adam Palmer, the owner of the Model Railroad Operations YouTube channel and also the owner of the Stinson Point Reyes Bodega Railroad. This is an HO scale proto-freelance layout modeling the Northern California coast set in the steam era. I say the mid-1920s, but in reality I have cars from the 1910s through the late 1950s on this railroad. Just anything that's really, steam era per se. The layout runs from Stinson Beach, as you can see to my lefty right. Runs from there up the coast to Jenner, which is directly above Stinson Beach, by way of Olema, Point Reyes Station, and Bodega Bay. The primary cargo on the railroad is lumber, and the mill at Jenner is the biggest customer. It receives about 4 cars per session, or receives and outgoing 4 cars per session. However, other commodities such as seafood, dairy, other agricultural products, some oil, general freight, and passengers also round out the operating scheme. Speaking of which, I run on a simplified timetable and train order scheme, similar in nature to what Ed Marin uses on his NWP layout. And to facilitate car movements, I use a car-carded waybill system directly available commercially from Micromark. And as for the timetable, the train order forms themselves, those are also commercially available from Micromark. So anyways, without further ado, let's run some trains.
A day on the SPR&B begins with the morning express leaving staging at Jenner. This is a timetable train, so it only needs a clearance to be authorized on the railroad. As the express departs Jenner, it passes behind the mill and over the Russian River. The express arrives at Bodega Bay, where, after a mail stop at the depot, it will pick up 2 reefers loaded with seafood at the wharf. Continuing south, the train crosses Alamir Falls Trestle before descending Keys Creek Canyon. After crossing Keys Creek, the rails follow the shore of Tomales Bay before arriving at Point Reyes Station. Here the express will make another mail stop and will also pick up a reefer at the creamery, loaded with dairy products, as well as spot its milk tank car at the creamery. Departing south from Point Reyes Station, the express has one more mail stop at Olema. Here, we would occasionally pick up 2 loaded stock cars loaded with cattle, but not today. With work complete, the express heads for its terminus at Stinson Beach. As the express makes its way down, the Stinson switcher begins the assembly of the first northbound freight of the day, the Expediter. This is an express freight forwarding the high priority and perishable goods brought in on the express, as well as LCL cars from either the Stinson Freight House or the Railway Express building. As the switcher performs its work, the power for the northbound morning passenger is hostled onto its consist. With the arrival of the express into Stinson Beach, the yard switcher will first pull off the freight cut, setting the reefers to the icing dock, and adding any stock cars to the Expediter's consist, though not today. After recoupling the mail cars and caboose to the express's engine, the train makes its final stop at the Stinson Beach Depot. Here, the switcher pulls off the remaining mail cars, and the engine heads to the service tracks. The switcher will set the caboose to the cab track in the yard before adding the now iced reefers to the Expediter and spotting the mail cars at the REA building. With the express out of the way, the northbound morning passenger makes its stop at Stinson Depot before heading north. After a station stop at Olema, the passenger has a timetable meet with the southbound morning passenger having come from Jenner at Point Reyes Station. After its stop in Bodega Bay, the passenger arrives at Jenner. Once its stop is complete, the passenger consist will be stored on the storage track and the engine on the pocket track. Back at Stinson Yard, the power for the northbound Expediter moves onto its train and departs north. The Expediter runs through from Stinson Beach to Jenner. After the Expediter's arrival at Jenner Staging, the next train south is the hauler. This is another through freight handling local traffic for destinations along the route. With the hauler's arrival in Stinson Yard, the next task of the switcher is to break up the inbound consist and build the northbound locals. Local cars for Stinson Beach will also be staged in the yard for delivery to local industries. The cars are classified in the blocks for Jenner, Bodega Bay, and Point Reyes Station. As the switcher builds the locals, the extra south arrives from Jenner with additional cars for local destinations. This train may also carry maintenance of way equipment or fuel cars for engine service. With the locals ready to depart, the power for the Jenner turn is first hostled from the service tracks onto its cut. Once attached, and with its orders received, the Jenner turn departs north. After the turn's departure, the process is repeated for the Bodega and Point Reyes locals. We catch the Jenner turn as it arrives at Jenner. Its train consists of 4 cars for the lumber mill, the only industry in town. Since there is limited track at Jenner, the mill must be switched in a certain way. Firstly, the outbound loaded cars are pulled from the mill's tracks. These cars are then pulled onto the passing track and the engine runs around via the depot track. Next, the inbound cars are pulled onto the depot track and the outbounds are shoved up the lead. The caboose is then coupled to the north end of the outbound cars, and the inbound cut is shoved up the lead and brought onto the passing track. The inbound cars are then spotted at the mill. Finally, the outbound cut is brought onto the passing track and the engine runs around. Before departing south, however, the Jenner turn must hold for the arrival of the midday passenger on the depot track. At Bodega Bay, the local is getting ready to make its moves at the various local industries. The local must again hold for the southbound midday passenger as it makes its stop at the depot. With its switching complete, the Bodega local prepares to head south. At Point Reyes Station, the local gets to work pulling and spotting the various industries. The local's work is complete, but it must again hold for the passage of a southbound train. This time it's the log train led by shade number 19. The log train hauls logs from Camp Jenner, a location represented by a staging track, to the wharf at Stinson Beach for loading onto ships. It's turn that loads south and empties north. As the log train makes its way south, the Stinson switcher works the local industries. Today we have a boxcar and flat car for Coast Lumber, a tank car for Standard Oil, and a Canadian Pacific boxcar for the Freight House. Once at Stinson Beach, the log train will unload its logs at the wharf for loading onto ships before performing an end swap and returning north. The local freights are now clear to make their way back to Stinson. Here, the yard switcher will pull off their consist and put together the northbound hauler. With the hauler assembled, the day begins to wind down as the afternoon passengers arrive and depart Stinson Beach. The hauler's power is hustled and the train departs north. Lastly, the switcher assembles the northbound Evening Express and spots the consist at the depot. As the express departs north, that completes a day on the Stinson Point Reyes Bodega Railroad. I hope you've enjoyed, and thank you all for watching.